Namaskaram. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you who have joined us today to commemorate the 12th annual day celebration of Kalanjali School of Dance. Dance isn't simply movement of bodies, it's much more. It's an awe-inspiring amalgamation of culture, tradition, passion, and artistry. Kalanjali, under the visionary guidance of its founder, Srimati Uma Menon, has been a beacon of artistic excellence since its inception in Bangalore in 2012. It was set up with the aim of creating awareness of Indian classical dance forms, specifically Mohiniyattam, the classical dance form of Kerala. The institute imparts training in Kalamandalam Kalyani Kuttiyamma style of Mohiniyattam, known for its structural integrity and purity. Our teacher, Uma ma'am, was trained under Srimati Kala Vijayan, who is the daughter of Kalyani Kuttiyamma, and strives to preserve the authentic style as is. Through dance, this initiative aims to promote the physical, mental, and spiritual well-being of our students. Mohiniyattam is one of the most graceful and elegant dance forms in India, characterized by lasya. The movements are slow and gentle, the footwork is soft. A lot of importance is given to abhinaya, or facial expressions, requiring one to portray a wide range of emotions, the predominant ones being Shringara, meaning love and beauty, and Bhakti, meaning devotion. This swaying, expressive, slow-paced dance helps you experience the inner calm and happiness that dance brings. Before we immerse ourselves into the flurry of today's festivities, it's customary to start a day by seeking the blessings of the divine and our gurus. For this, I invite Kavya Sunil for a prayer song.
Ekadantam Mahakayam Taptakanjana Sannibham Lambodaram Vishalaksham Vandeham Gananayakam Vandeham Gananayakam.
Thank you, Kavya, for a soulful prayer. It has instilled in us a sense of calm and tranquility. An anthropologist by training, a teacher by passion, and an educator by experience. Yes, we here are happy to have Dr. Vandana Goswami as our esteemed guest of honor for today. Dr. Vandana has over 20 years of experience in the field of education with a doctorate in anthropology from Michigan State University, a master's in science and also a master's in arts. She has 17 years of experience in teaching Cambridge International Education courses across. She is passionate about the need to involve people in thinking independently, critically, and creatively. She also runs workshops and short-term courses on thinking and helps scholars with their academic training. We welcome Dr. Vandana Goswami on behalf of Kalanjali. Thank you, ma'am. It's also an immense pleasure to welcome all our family, friends, and well-wishers who have been a part of our journey, supporting us in our passion towards Mohiniyattam. Blessed to have you all today with us. Yatra Nrityo Loka. Where there is dancing, there is the world. This is from Natya Shastra 119. So here we go, Shivoham, a presentation from the Mohinis of Kalanjali School of Dance. Thank you.
So we would now formally move to begin the event. So I would request our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. Vandana, to speak a few lines to address the gathering.
Well, Uma told me that I needed to speak, and I didn't know for how long or whatever. Because I really didn't know what to speak in the context of dance, then I started writing down what I wanted to say, and it's actually become about 15 to 20 minutes. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. I just have a little sheet so that I don't forget. Well, but first of all, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here today in this gathering. But as I said, I know nothing about dance. When I was in class 4 or 5, my mother decided I needed to know the arts. She enrolled me in a Kathak class. A few days later, I was showing off to my friends in school what I was learning. And they asked me if I was learning drill. So that was the end of dance for me. I guess I learned nothing in those, few days. My mother tried music, classical music, didn't happen. But I did become a nerd, and what I do is I read all the time. Later on in life, I became an anthropologist. And I study and teach about what makes us human. And that is when I encountered arts again. That arts, like whether it is dance, music, painting, poetry, these are things that make us uniquely human. I'm talking about, I'm just going to speak right now a little bit about dance in the sense, in this next 1 minute, in the next point that I want to make, though it applies to all other arts also. You may have, particular climatic conditions, and the mating season may make a peacock flex up its feathers and dance and move its body in ways that we would interpret as dance. Particular musical melodies may make a cobra lift itself up, again in what we would consider dance, but these are still predominantly mating rituals, done instinctively. Humans, on the other hand, dance by choice, by intention. Human dance is deliberate and based on learning. Dance is a product of human creativity. Humans dance for pleasure as a cultivated skill, not as a mating ritual. I'm not talking about Indian movies where, song and dance can be a mating ritual, but that's make-believe, not reality. It makes me so happy to see all of you gather together here to celebrate this unique gift of our humanity, because that's what dance is. The next few points, I'm just going to, if you bear with me, since I didn't know how long I was supposed to speak, so I didn't want to be the next few points I want to make are connected to my career as a teacher. And as an educator, I have used song, poetry, stories, movies, paintings, advertisements, posters, all of these as teaching tools. I've never used dance because I don't know enough about dance. But I want to share with you a story that one of my students had told me. This was a student in my critical thinking class in Shrishti School of Design. He was from Bombay, and we were discussing, I don't even know the context of the discussion at this point, I don't even remember that. But what his boy said that when he was in class 7 or 8 in his school in Bombay, a dancer had come to their school. And she taught the Pythagoras theorem in math through dance. And I still remember the wonder in this boy's voice when he said, I don't remember any of the dancer's name. I don't remember anything about maths. I was never good at maths. I hated math. But I have never forgotten the Pythagoras theorem. That, to me, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of dance. And if any of you here are educators, I urge you to use that power creatively and innovatively in your teaching practice. It really works. The third point I want to make is about classical Indian arts. In the context of the younger generation, we have a whole lot of younger people here. But one thing I see as an educator, that anything that is termed remotely traditional or classical kind of gets looked down upon. And I want to tell you a little incident. A few years ago, I was facilitating a discussion with students from class 9 and 10. This was a few years ago. This was before the internet came into our phones and our televisions. Internet was still confined to our laptops and our PCs. So television programs like the Star World and Star Movies and all of those were still the major source of entertainment for our kids. So we were talking about their favorite programs. And one of the things, all the programs that they were discussing were the Western programs, were the English programs. This was also the time when the Mahabharata was going on, I think in Star Plus or somewhere. This was the second Mahabharata, not the B.R. Chopra's original. The second Mahabharata was slightly more modernized in clothes and everything else. So I just asked the students, I said, how many of you watched the Mahabharata? A ripple of laughter went around the class, around the entire room. I was also watching the kids. One of them, as soon as I asked the question, went with a smile on his face. Simultaneously, he heard the ripple. And immediately the hand went. So again, that was peer pressure. Later on, I actually went and sought out the boy, and then I said, okay, you like Mahabharata, I like it too. And then we really sort of, reassured him that it's absolutely okay to like something traditional and classical, and there's nothing wrong with it. And things have not really changed. Last year, I was sitting and watching. Mahabharata is my all-time favorite story because it's so ancient, it's at the same time so contemporary, and I can watch any versions of it. So last year, I was sitting and watching some rerun of the Mahabharata, and I had a niece and a nephew who was studying in Bangalore, and they were visiting for the weekend. And as I was watching, I could hear sniggers around me. And I looked like, what happened? And they were giggling, looking at me. So like, whoa, what happened? What's wrong? And then finally my niece said, well, we thought you were a cool aunt. How can you, who watches Big Bang Theory, who watches How I Met My Mother, who watches Silicon Valley, how can you, Modern Family, how can you sit and enjoy something like the Mahabharata? And I was absolutely flabbergasted. It was absolutely, but that also told me how anything that is classified as traditional becomes uncool. So my question for you today is, how do we make our traditional arts and dance forms cool enough for the younger generation to enjoy? And I'm not going to get into the debate of pure versus modernized classical dance forms and all of that, no. I'm just asking you to think of ways in which we can draw more young people into classical dances and classical arts. This brings me to the last point I want to make today, so I won't keep you for long. I worked in a school where traditional Indian arts were absolutely emphasized. There was, for extracurricular, there was classical Indian dance, classical Indian music. But over the years, year after year, we would notice that it was predominantly the girls who went for classical Indian dance. Boys went into sports. There were some girls who went into sports too, but never the other way around. Some boys went into tabla, but that also very few. But for dance, classical Indian dance, never. And we can blame this on peer pressure, but I also think that parental approval has a role to play in this. I'll share another story to illustrate this. See, I love stories. My classes are full of stories, so bear with me. This was a story narrated to me by a teacher who was in one of my gender workshops. And she said that she took her daughter for Bharatanatyam dance after school. One day, she was waiting for the class to be over, and the class was taking a little longer that day. There was another mother who was sitting next to her and who was fretting. She was fretting because her son was in basketball, and he was waiting for a long time now, and so she needed to pick him up. Then this lady said that, his basketball actually finishes before the dance class, but I dare not bring him here. So this teacher was like, why not? I said, well, what if he decides to do Bharatanatyam instead of basketball? That would be a disaster. So that kind of attitude actually is, you would find that it's not an uncommon attitude. Usually for boys, a lot of parents want their children, want their child to learn the classical dance, but usually it applies to girls rather than boys. A boy agreeing to do wanting to do classical dance it's kind of not very much sort of encouraged. Parents would by and large I'm talking, parents would willingly support their son's interest in sports, definitely, even painting, even classical music. But dance, classical dance, often enough you would find, is not quite it's kind of, not, I wouldn't say maybe discouraged, I don't know, but you don't find it very much. And look around you. In today's educated families, we actually allow our girls to do everything. And we are very proud of their achievements in predominantly male-dominated areas. But that doesn't apply to our sons. A girl who is seen to be interested in anything that is remotely seen as feminine is frowned upon. And it is in these frowns and disapprovals that peer pressure starts. Children look to the adults around us. Children's attitudes develop from the adults around us, especially gender attitudes. And I see a change gradually now, though. How many of you have seen this movie, Rocky or Rani Ki Prem Kahani, which did bring out these issues? And Ranveer Singh's Kathak moves look great. Didn't look feminine at all. There's another person who comes into my social media feed a lot, a choreographer called Devesh Mirchandani. I don't know if anybody has seen him. And he absolutely proudly does classical Indian dance in public spaces. So maybe an awareness is happening. So what I'm saying here is that there are many boys out there who may really want to learn classical dance, but they dare not voice their desire, sometimes even to themselves, for fear of societal disapproval. So I'm going to end with a prayer to all of us mothers, parents and grandparents here. If your son or your grandson wants to do classical dance, please do not discourage. Classical Indian dance is a unique cultural heritage, and heritage has no gender. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a very expressive way of storytelling, and we would beg to differ when you say that you haven't learned dance, because the emotions that you conveyed through your stories was truly enriching. Thank you so much. So I would now request Dr. Vandana ma'am and Uma ma'am to light the lamp. With the lighting of the lamp, let this light be a beacon that guides us through today's cultural and spiritual odyssey that we are about to embark on. So without further ado, let's create an environment of rhythm, grace, and harmony. I invite Mrs. Radha to take us through what we have all been eagerly yet patiently waiting for, Shivoham.
Thank you. You guys are in the darkness, I can't see you. Good morning. And keeping with the tradition, maybe I should say namaste. Namaste. Thank you. Maybe we should go a step even beyond that, considering we are going through Shiva Puranam and getting closer to the primordial force which has made us all dance, move, breathe. Okay? So let us start with Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Thank you very much. I know you guys have all woken up early. Some have family who has or dancing. So on a Sunday morning, you have come very early to be part of the whole program and working late during the previous days also. From the vantage point that I have had, I'm not part of the dance, but I'm part of every dance. I can assure you it's a Sunday well spent. It is a Sunday that can be absolutely, it's a Sunday that can be absolutely precious. I'm going to come closer a little bit. Thank you. That's better. You guys also have a very, very important role to play. So if any of you know, I would like you to give me an English word which is, describing your role in Shivoham. You are people who listen, who watch, who get involved, who appreciate, you critique, you enjoy, and you know what's going to happen out here soon, right? So do you know an English word which catches the essence of the whole thing? Patron would be not a person who actually enjoys the whole thing. It doesn't essentially capture everything. Yeah, but you're not getting involved out there. Okay? So I could find only in our Indian language a word for it. Today, you guys are rasikas. It captures rasika. Okay? It captures the meaning, the essence of the role that we have to play today. I have a question for you. How would you identify if Shiva comes today in front of us? What would you look? How do you know this is Shiva? You know. How do you know it's Shiva? The Jadamudi, right? The snake around the neck, the Dumuru, the Trishul, the third eye, the dress, there's a tiger skin around him, right? These are the, the saguna aspects of Shiva. It's for us to identify, hey, this is Shiva. This is how we think of him. Okay? Beyond that, there is this light is too bright for me. It's better? Okay, it's better for me too. There is a nirguna aspect of it, which is very difficult for us to, assimilate and understand in our limited thinking. Even Adi Shankaracharya, when he wrote about Shiva in Nirvana Shatakam, he talks about what he is not. I am not that, I am not this, I am not something else. But he concludes with Chidananda Rupam Shivoham, Shivoham. So that is the second role that we have to play today. First role, Rasikas. And the second role, we are Shiva. The breath that we take, the movement of the oceans, the rains, the expansion of the cosmos, the rotation, the revolution, every single aspect of movement in this world, in this cosmos, is attributed to Shiva. So that brings us to Shivoham. In Rig Veda, Shiva is referred to as Nadaraja, the Lord of Dance. In Natya Shastra, from which Mohiniyattam, Bharatanatyam and all our traditional art forms have come, Shiva's cosmic dance is divided into two aspects, the Tandava and the Lasya. Lasya is what Mohiniyattam focuses on. The Tandava is we know it. It's a fierce dance, getting rid of the old, giving way for new to come, right? In the Purusha Sukta, which is part of Rig Veda, Shiva is depicted as the cosmic dancer. And it is his dance which has established the universe, the movement, everything that happens, the way we sit, the way we watch, the way we appreciate, everything is under Shiva. Our dancers are raring to go. They have been waiting since morning. But I need a minute to talk about their effort. Shivoham, this annual day that we have put together, is a testing time for the teacher and the students. Every student is on the path to become an accomplished artist. It's not easy to perform multiple dances on the stage. Remember this dance step, remember the next dance step. And we are able to accomplish this only through the blessings of the Lord Nadaraja. Namah Shivaya. And we have the blessings of the person out here who helps us accomplish all this, our Guru, Uma ma'am. I need a line to talk about her. Tell me if I'm right at the end of it, okay? This is what I wrote about her when I thought about her. Dance is integrated into her every breath. Her approach to dance emphasizes on abhinaya and the finesse and a great sense of aesthetics. Agree? She takes a dance from up high there, some esoteric level up there, and imparts it to the eyes, the arms, the steps, the feet, the body of every single dance student that she has led on. Correct? And her perseverance and dedication, not only to teach, she at every stage, every dance class, she's imbibing more and more of the dance. She herself is growing to further intricate levels. And exactly as Vandana ma'am was saying today, she is sowing the seeds so that the centuries old culture is actually being taken to the next generation and the next generation and further on. So we have to thank her. One of the thank you. And the most important part of the dance today, Shivoham is a declaration of our oneness with Lord Shiva. The mantra Shivoham essentially means I am Shiva, and is a reminder, not only for the dancers, for us also, to manifest our inner divinity. So, dear Rasikas, you are Shiva today, as much as I am Shiva, a complete particle from the infinite, incomprehensible, indescribable Nadaraja. The cosmic component of grace, movement that drives us all and emanates from our very breath. Breathe in that divinity. Feel yourself closer to that divinity. Submit yourself to knowing Him more as Shiva Puranam, this holy scripture, is enacted by our Kalanjali team. Thank you.